Gumbanani Gerandu, which is good day, is good to see you, in Burragum, the traditional language of the community that I grew up on the Darling Downs. Dear colleagues, welcome to the 2024 IFLA General Assembly. I'm speaking to you from Brisbane, Australia, and we have others in our physical meeting space taking place in the National Library of the Netherlands in The Hague, as well as joining virtually via our meeting platform and observing via IFLA's YouTube channel. Members from over 96 countries have registered for this meeting. The hybrid option that we are using allows the greatest number of members to take part. The meeting platform allows voting members to hear the motions, listen to discussion, ask questions, and then vote in real time when asked to do so. If you would like to make use of AI interpretation to text for your language, look for the link in the message on the Lumi platform. I ask our members in the room and online to ensure that you have used your voting credentials to log into the meeting platform to follow the meeting. When you are asked to vote, your voting options will be shown on your device. This year, the details of registered voting members, their proxies, and their weighted votes have been provided to the meeting platform company Lumi, who have been engaged to assist with this meeting. They have provided unique login and voting credentials to those members who have registered for the meeting. All voting will take place online on the platform in a secure and accurate manner. At the close of voting, the results will automatically be calculated and provided to the meeting. Members also have the possibility to ask questions. In line with IFLA's meeting protocol, please include your name and the organisation you are representing when submitting a question. Anonymous questions will not be addressed. With me in the meeting and together in The Hague are Sharon Memmes, IFLA's Secretary-General, who will provide the annual report, Jaap Neighbour as IFLA Treasurer, he will speak to the annual accounts, Martin Wade, IFLA's Parliamentarian, who will advise on procedural matters during the meeting, and Stephen Wyber, IFLA's Director of External Affairs, who will be assisting with questions and comments submitted online. I now ask the Secretary-General for any apologies.
I have received no apologies for the meeting. Are there any other apologies to be recorded? Please add these in the Q&A or indicate in the auditorium by raising your hand. If there are no further apologies, we'll move on. No.
Thank you, Sharon. Let us move to item 2, the establishment of a quorum. At the beginning of the meeting, there were 145 national and international association members who have paid their fees for 2024 and are not in arrears. For a quorum, we need 50% of this number, plus 1, so namely 73. At this time, 84 national and international associations have registered. We have a quorum. Thank you, members. A quorum has been established and business will be transacted and implemented on the basis of a majority of votes in favour. I now move to item 3, the adoption of the agenda. I ask the Secretary-General to introduce the agenda.
Madam Chair, the agenda for the General Assembly meeting was sent to all members in good standing in May, as required by the statutes. The business of the meeting shall normally be limited to those items appearing on the agenda issued with the convening notice for the meeting. Only items of an exceptional and urgent character may be added at the discretion of the President and with the consent of the majority of the members present or represented. Such resolutions have not been received for this meeting.
Thank you. I now call for a mover and seconder for the adoption of the agenda. You can put your name in the question and answer or raise your hand if you're in The Hague. I call for a mover. I call for a seconder for the motion. You may do this by adding your name and organisation in the Q&A.
I think we have Stuart Hamilton from moving and we have Jennifer Nicholson, honorary fellow, seconding.
Stephen, I might ask you if you can turn your volume up. It's very difficult to hear you.
I can speak up. That's okay. So
Better, thank you.
Great. So We have Stuart Hamilton, who I believe represents Library Association of Ireland, moving, and Jennifer Nicholson, honorary fellow, seconding.
Thank you. I will now ask if the meeting adopts the agenda. We will do this via a formal vote. Please stay with us while the vote takes place. Voting members, please make your vote now, and the motion will appear on your device. Voting has now closed, and I believe the result will be shown to us on the screen. The result is 850 in favour, 0 against, and 0 abstentions. So the agenda is adopted. Thank you very much. Let's move to item 4, the minutes of the previous meeting held in Rotterdam, the Netherlands, as a hybrid meeting on the 23rd to the 24th of August 2023.
The draft minutes of the meeting held in Rotterdam in 2023 have been distributed to all members with the General Assembly papers. These were distributed by email and are on the IFLA website with the convening notice. Are there any corrections?
There are no corrections. I call for a mover and a seconder for the motion that the minutes of the IFLA General Assembly held in Rotterdam on the 23rd to the 24th of August be approved. I call for a mover and I call for a seconder.
So I think we have again Stuart Hamilton from Library Association of Ireland moving. Did we have a seconder? And so, Irmgard Reintjes, which member are you representing? Passant Laser. So, Irmgard Reintjes of Passant Laser seconding.
Thank you very much. We will approve the minutes via a formal vote. Please stay with us while the vote takes place. Voting members, please make your vote now. The motion will appear on your device. The result will now appear on the screen. So the results are voting for, in favour, is 909. We have 0 against and 18 abstentions. The vote is approved. The minutes of the General Assembly held in a hybrid format on the 23rd to the 24th of August 2023 are approved. Thank you very much. At this point, we move to remember colleagues who have been active in IFLA who have passed since August 2023. Hans-Peter Gay from Germany, Istvan Papp from Hungary, Lucia Raffa from the United States of America, Tomonori Shibata from New Zealand, Amy Joseph, New Zealand, Nancy E. Gwynn, United States of America, Simon Zul Kazom Yamani, Cameroon. I would like particularly to acknowledge the passing of Hans-Peter Gay, IFLA President from 1985 to 1991. He was active within IFLA for over 25 years, and his involvement coincided with IFLA's deepening commitment to international cooperation and international librarianship. This resulted in the IFLA Congress making its first appearances in South Asia, and Latin America. I request that you rise for a moment of silence as we remember all colleagues who have died during the past year and recall with gratitude their contributions to our activities and to the library and information services profession. Please be seated. Thank you. And I certainly feel a strong sense of responsibility for continuing the work of the colleagues we've lost over the past year. Indeed, now it is when we return to how we are continuing their work with a series of reports on IFLA's activities and achievements in 2023. And the first is my own as IFLA President. When I became President of IFLA in August of last year, I acknowledged how much of an honour it is to hold this role. That for someone who has lived libraries throughout their professional life, it was humbling to have been elected by you to lead the field. I know that I still feel this every day. Being IFLA President means that I'm working with such a variety of colleagues around the world, to be a connector between people, between countries, between the local and the global, to bring thy theme stronger together to life. Each one of us faces different circumstances, but we have in common a commitment to ensuring that everyone can benefit from great library services. The way that you go about this, the way you overcome challenges, the way you reflect and innovate, this is deeply inspiring, and you are making the world better. There are so many highlights during 2023, it almost makes the word highlight meaningless. But I would like to note in particular the energy and the warmth that I felt when I participated in the regional workshop in Nairobi in October. The content and quality of the discussions were of course great, and I got so much from hearing about all that colleagues were already doing. But crucially, I've enjoyed and benefited greatly by being included in the group's base camp site that has allowed participants to follow up their discussions and commitments. It really shows how powerful it is when we come together and how far this energy brings us and takes us as well. I need also to thank our colleagues in the United Arab Emirates for their welcome when our Secretary General and I participated in the International Council on Archives Congress. I particularly enjoyed the opportunity to meet with members of ILIA, the Emirates Library and Information Association, and hear their aspirations for the future. This was a chance to witness firsthand a library sector in rapid development, as well as to underline how we can ensure that our members in the region can realise fully the potential of engagement in IFLA. And of course, I've also been very happy to work within the Australian library field, highlighting all the good work that IFLA is doing and encouraging colleagues to see the international as a key part of their practice. As some of you noticed, Australia is, of course, some distance from many places, but thanks to the internet, I've also been able to join so many of you at congresses, conferences, and other events. The list is a long one, but includes Bangladesh, Bosnia, China, India, Korea, Iran, Qatar, Sri Lanka, Turkey, and the Philippines, and that was just in 2023. And when I'm delivering this speech next year, I'll be able to add so many others. I'm particularly looking forward to participating in person at the American Library Association annual conference next week in San Diego. Given that this is a report for 2023, I must also recognise the energy and effort that my predecessor, Barbara Lisson, brought to the role. Colleagues in Argentina, Hungary, India, Indonesia, Italy, Latvia, and the United States all welcomed her, and I hope through this engagement have felt closer, better connected to the international library field. To all those who have invited Barbara and I as IFLA presidents to your events, who have given us the opportunity to be inspired by your work to make a connection, thank you. Without these opportunities, we cannot ensure that communication, that connection that is so necessary to achieve those key goals, bringing our members closer and earning the privilege to be the global voice. Which brings me back to the wider set of goals that I set back in August of last year, and there were 6 in total. I've mentioned a little already about how we are doing on 2 of those, on making sure that we've earned the right to call ourselves the global voice of libraries. We've continued to engage on behalf of libraries on the global stage, at the UN, at UNESCO, at COP. And as I've mentioned, we've had our regional workshop in Nairobi, as well as another one in Brussels. Through these workshops, we are supporting the development of regional action in ways that are most effective for each respective region. And you'll hear more about this in Sharon's report shortly. On bringing our members closer, more effectively into the work of the Governing Board and IFLA in general, beyond participating in your events, you should all now be receiving a monthly update from me. In the last couple of months, we've started sharing these updates in different languages and held 2 rounds of IFLA town halls. Through these, I hope we're succeeding in bringing you into the discussions on the key issues that we're working on right now. Your involvement is another one of the Governing Board's priorities, IFLA's future sustainability. For me, ensuring that we are supporting, engaging and mobilising the library field is vital if we are to secure the resources to commence our 2nd century with confidence. I will talk more about this in my closing address, but key steps already include our work to put our relationship with SIGIL onto a solid basis. I'm happy to share that we have come to an agreement on the 2024 budget, which will allow us to continue to invest in helping libraries globally become more sustainable. We also commissioned work into who is already funding library projects, and this information has been published, as well as a study into partnership opportunities and what we need to seize them. I must also acknowledge Arcadia Fund, whose support makes the Knowledge Rights 21 project possible, as well as our involvement with the European Union. And of course, today you will be voting on a change to our statutes that will make it possible for IFLA to apply for charity or ANBI status, a key step towards facilitating partnerships. Another component of our work for sustainability is to ensure that our own internal governance is as good as it can be, starting with the work of the Governing Board itself. Of course, I chair the Governing Board, and so this is very much directly my responsibility. I believe that we have made some important progress. We have reaffirmed our code of ethics and worked to enhance transparency, with fuller minutes and more rapid reporting about the issues on the agenda. And finally, there are 3 more time-bound actions that I committed to when I addressed you in August. First of all is our strategy for 2024 to 2029. I want to express my gratitude to each of you who has responded to our short surveys. We received over 1,000 responses in total. I encourage you to look at the results, which are all up on our website, as they offer some fascinating insights into what matters for different parts of our field. Through these contributions, you have helped put our work in the right direction and given the basis for some great discussions in the Governing Board. Secondly is this 2024 Trend Report, which I'm really looking forward to. It is the first major new edition in over 10 years. It is an opportunity to create a resource and tools to help libraries around the world build preparedness and resilience in a fast-moving environment. In 2023, we launched preparation for the Trend Report by commissioning the Queensland University of Technology to prepare a literature review focused on the future of information and knowledge, and bringing together a steering panel of librarians to shape the work going forward. We are close to publishing this review now and have exciting plans for turning this into a full report. And last of all, but absolutely one of the major implications for the future of the Federation, is the review of our Congress model. I am grateful to the President-elect, Leslie Weir, for leading this important work, and she's been quite busy. Already, by the end of 2023, we not only had a revised set of requirements for our 2025 Congress and also structures to carry forward the long-term review. The team are hard at work and one survey is already finalised and there's more to come. I'll be saying more on these initiatives in my closing address. They are all ongoing processes. Some will be able to be concluded in the next few months, but there are others I know that I'll be handing over to Leslie when she becomes president in 2025. Nevertheless, I reaffirm my commitment to leave IFLA in a stronger position, and I am confident of the support of the full governing board and the IFLA team to achieve that. I hope that you will agree that we've made good progress, that we have indeed been stronger together, and I look forward to sharing a dashboard on the work alongside the report from this meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you. And now I'm happy to invite IFLA's Secretary-General, Sharon Memmis, to take the floor to present IFLA's annual report. Sharon?
Thank you, Vicky, and not just for summarising so much of the important work that has taken place, but for all the time and effort that you put into your role as President on top of a very high-pressure day job. So thank you. So this is the part where we look back at the past year, at what we collectively as a federation have been able to achieve. You've already heard a lot about the governing board's priorities and work from Vicky. And I'm going to talk about IFLA as a whole and highlight some of the key elements in the annual report that our members have all received. I took up the role as Secretary-General at IFLA a year ago, on the 1st of June to be precise, and it's been an eventful year, and I have learned a huge amount, which is always exciting. I came to IFLA with my own experiences of libraries around the world, from Myanmar to Pakistan and Zimbabwe to London. I'd seen the impact they can have on the communities they serve. But since joining IFLA, it's been a revelation to discover the rich diversity and energy that exists in this field. The passion, drive, and creativity of individual librarians, changing people's lives for the better. I've had the privilege to meet some extraordinary people this last year, and what struck me particularly is the personal and professional generosity of the field, the willingness to share ideas and learn from others. It is quite special, and I hope that this is why you all see IFLA as such an important and unique organisation. The potential for libraries to build a better world is huge, yet libraries are too often under-recognised, undervalued by others. And IFLA has a key role in helping to address this, in ensuring that libraries everywhere have the connections and the confidence to build partnerships, to deliver sustainably for the communities they serve. There's been lots to learn and lots to do, but a year into the role, working with Vicky, the governing board, our members, our volunteers, our partners, and of course our great headquarters staff, I think that we are on the right path, and I see a future full of possibilities. So here are some of the highlights from IFLA's 2023 annual report. The framework for IFLA's work is our strategy. The current one focuses on what IFLA does. We inspire, engage, enable, and connect the global library field. It also sets out strategic directions, and I'll run through what we're doing in each area. When our current strategy comes to an end later this year, we'll share a high-level overview of achievements against each strategic direction. And importantly, we will apply the lessons we've learnt to inform our new strategy, what we should continue and what we need to change, but a little bit more about that later. But right now, it is my privilege to present a few highlights of what we have achieved together in 2023. Strengthen the global voice of libraries, our first strategic direction, is all about advocacy, shaping impressions, updating and expanding people's idea of what a library is and what a library can do. We invest in this not just because libraries rely on the support of our communities to be able to give back, but more importantly, because it would be such a missed opportunity not to mobilise the ability of libraries to change lives for the better. This is a job that needs action everywhere, where decisions are made, where decisions are shaped, anywhere there is the potential to build powerful, impactful partnerships, and where people need to know about libraries and how they contribute to broader goals. And all of us have a role here, because the impact of that gives us huge legitimacy, and we have a right to a voice. We should feel confident about telling our story of having a seat at the biggest tables. IFLA's work within this strategic direction is about facilitating this. At the international level, we are the leading organisation speaking up for libraries at the United Nations, at UNESCO, at the World Intellectual Property Organization, and more. We work with these organizations to shape policy processes, to develop projects and activities. We engage in the spaces they offer to strengthen access to governments, and we ensure that everyone in the room hears that library story, the impact we achieve, the lives we change. To do this, we mobilize the IFLA community and bring colleagues from around the world into these spaces so that they can engage with their own ministers and speak from their experience. And to give just a few examples from 2023, we stepped up a gear in our engagement in the COP process. We broadened the group of colleagues participating in the work of the United Nations, and we held a record number of events at the Internet Governance Forum. Of course, the impact of this work is longer term, and ultimately, success can only be measured by the concrete changes it leads to on the ground. But raising awareness and having a seat at the table is essential for that change to happen. And we are focused on this, both through using international spaces to build national connections, but also in developing outputs and sharing information that help library and information workers everywhere make a stronger case. Ultimately, by working globally, we want to make a difference locally. And we do this through workshops, training, toolkits, guidance, briefings, and more. We also develop statements and manifestos within the field that provide inspiration and reference points. So, what did we achieve in 2023? A real milestone was that for the first time ever, over 50% of voluntary national reviews of implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals referred to libraries. These reviews, produced by governments in the context of the United Nations 2030 Agenda, are a snapshot of all that is being done and all who matter for broader sustainable development. And getting to over 50% of reviews mentioning libraries provides a great example for others. And crucial to this was the support from SIGIL, which enabled participation by a library delegation from all world regions. We also made major progress on underlining the role of libraries as essential players for climate empowerment, and we secured the inclusion of library indicators in global statistics. So from now on, libraries will have a much stronger argument in favour of being included in climate action programming. And this is further reinforced by declarations on culture and climate change from COP28. We're also a member of Partner to Connect initiative that connects key digital actors from NGOs to major telecoms companies to set out our contribution to digital inclusion. Inspire and enhance professional practice is our second strategic direction. And this focuses on the vibrant professional community, the beating heart of IFLA, and the work that we do to support them, including the development of flagship reports and resources. Providing the structures for this community to come together, to exchange ideas, to learn and to create is why an international library organisation like IFLA is so important. Of course, our communities and contexts around the world are often very different and sometimes very complex, but we also have a lot in common. Similar challenges, similar strengths, and the natural curiosity of the library and information field mean there's always plenty to talk about when we come together. And IFLA is all about making this happen. We offer the spaces and the tools necessary for innovations to be shared, standards and reference points to be developed, and new and exciting ways to deliver on the potential of libraries. We also know from volunteer and member feedback that IFLA participation can be an eye-opener, a great way to trigger deeper reflection about our own practices and assumptions. On a practical level, IFLA's work here is anchored in the 50+ volunteer groups, our sections, special interest groups, regional division committees, review groups, and more. Each of these has a vocation to be a catalyst, a motor. 2023 was an election year, so very busy, and there was lots of innovation aimed at maximising the dynamism and impact of our groups. The leadership of the Professional Council by Tapaya Paringatai has been exceptional. We saw units lead in the delivery of externally funded projects, celebrate successes, and provide examples to others through awards. We saw them develop and update standards, publish professional reports, enable the IFLA Journal to grow its reach and impact, and contribute to our repository, helping to share knowledge with the world. Under this direction, we also developed central resources, notably our Library Map of the World and Trend Report series. In each case, these depend on the readiness of volunteers to contribute, be they our wide and diverse community of data correspondents or the emerging leaders who've made our Trend Report updates possible. And in this, once again, we're happy to count on SIGL's support to make such resources possible. And key highlights include the successful delivery of the Hermes project, which saw a practical new tool for resource sharing released. Stronger regional diversity across volunteer units between 2021 and 23 and 2023 and 25. There were new publications and guidelines that offered indispensable support for better library services in everything from prisons to metadata. Connect and enable the field is our third strategic direction and complements the other two, focusing on connecting and empowering the field. I already highlighted the importance of spaces, figuratively, virtually, or in person, to make possible the type of connections that really advance our field and practice. And I've also underlined the potential that our volunteer units have as places for learning. Under this direction, we cover our active programme of meetings, including our Congress, and what we do to develop skills and structures in all parts of the world and the field. And this is a unique contribution that IFLA can make. There are plenty of international library meetings, but none allow for the breadth of engagement that IFLA provides. We want to be the place where the library field as a whole, regardless of their library type or geography, can come together and advance their agenda. And central to our thinking about sustainability, we believe there is a need to spread and share skills. We want to build capacity at the local, national, and regional level to think about the future and do what's necessary to be ready for it. And while some countries already have a strong infrastructure, we can always learn from each other and ensure that everyone can benefit. However, the idea that libraries can drive and deliver positive change at a national, regional, or global scale does assume that we have the necessary structures and skills base. On a practical level, in this strategic direction, we include the World Library and Information Congress, which in 2023 was held in Rotterdam. And I want to again give my thanks to Theo Kemperman and the Dutch National Committee team that led this, as well as to the colleagues at headquarters who worked behind the scenes and the volunteer units who designed the programme. And I want to give a special mention to my wonderful colleague, Marie-Emmanuelle Marande, who many of you know from the Congress, and who sadly will be leaving IFLA this month for new adventures, and who's been central to our Congress work for some years. Rotterdam was my first Congress, so I have no real point of comparison, but everyone said it was a particularly good one, and I certainly found it an incredible experience. And what I loved most was just watching people in the room and watching the joy on their faces of friends and colleagues from across the world reconnecting again in Rotterdam. And you will be aware, Vicky's mentioned it already, that we are in the process of reviewing our Congress model. And this is a complex and high-stakes task, given the importance of the Congress in the life of our federation, and it also impacts on IFLA's finances, as you will hear shortly in the Treasurer's report. But beyond this, there is the rich programme of webinars that our units, including regional units and our headquarters team, organise. And despite being a relatively new addition, the regional units are growing into their roles, defining agendas that match regional needs and supporting access to and engagement in IFLA's work. And my thanks to Alejandro Santa as the chair of the Regional Council for leading some really exciting work here. And I'm also grateful to our regional offices who play a really important day-to-day role in making IFLA live at the regional level. We complement this with regional workshops focused on building sustainability thinking. We support emerging leaders to engage in our Congress and raise their profiles through participation in trend report updates. And in a new development, we ran for the first time a hugely successful Train the Trainers course for impact evaluation. These activities too draw on the support of SIGIL and are great examples of how we can build sustainability into the future. And key highlights and impact in 2023 include regional workshops in Europe and sub-Saharan Africa, which led to intensified work on partner outreach, support for emerging leaders, and a greater focus on sustainability and planning. Over 200 people applied for our Train the Trainers course on impact evaluation, and a core team of 12 were trained to share key lessons with libraries globally. IFLA renewed and expanded its network of regional offices, and IFLA's first hybrid RLIC took an innovative approach to expanding the Congress's reach, transcending geographical boundaries and promoting inclusivity within the global library and information community. Optimize our organisation is our fourth and final strategic direction. It is more inward-facing, but without this, we cannot achieve the rest of our work. The direction touches on key aspects of sustainability, particularly financial and organisational sustainability. And the big changes in our organisation in 2023 were, of course, the election of a new governing board with Vicky McDonald as president. And of course, I suppose I must mention my own appointment as Secretary General. And these are big changes, but we are fortunate to have a very effective governing board and headquarters team. And I hope you are seeing some positive changes. It is evolution, not revolution. I hope also that you all feel your federation is safe, in safe and competent hands. On the finance side, you will hear from our treasurer, Jaap Neber, about our accounts. However, I do want to highlight the importance and generosity of our funding partners, and particularly Stichting IFLA Global Libraries, Arcadia Foundation, and the European Commission. Not only does their investment in IFLA allow us to deliver incredible projects and outputs that in turn help the field grow and develop, but it also demonstrates to others what can be done by partnering with IFLA and with libraries. Libraries are the essential partner in so many areas. 2023 has also been a year of focusing more on our people, our members, our staff, our volunteers. And while our new organisational design in IFLA headquarters only came into force in March 2024, much of the analysis happened in 2023. And we've created some new posts around community building and impact and evaluation. And I hope you will see the impact of these new roles in the way we can respond to your needs. In parallel, we're investing in learning and development within IFLA headquarters and ensuring we have the best possible working environment and culture. The headquarters team agreed and defined our organisational values of collaboration, accountability, innovation, and respect. And I hope you will see evidence of these values in all your dealings with IFLA staff. Finally, our work here is also about maximising our offer to members, improving how we work with you, engage you, communicate with you. This is an ongoing process, and we can always do better. But both through working on our own systems and processes and rethinking our communications, we are well on the way. And we are all encouraged by the positive feedback you've given us. On a practical level, we have continued to update how we do elections. We've invested in ensuring a stable and positive relationship with SIGIL. We've launched work to understand the wider funding landscape for libraries, and we've made improvements to our newsletter. Crucially, as you heard in Vicky's report, we've made our own governance a priority. And I'm happy that we have introduced more regular, simple reporting. The main question now is how we can go further still. And we really do love to get your feedback. Please continue to give it. Highlights and impact for 2023 include IFLA continuing to deliver successfully on projects, demonstrating our strengths as a partner and receiving really positive endorsements from those partners. Membership continued to grow alongside a robust pool of candidates in committee elections, as well as further progress in the regional diversity of our volunteer base. In addition to a new president and governing board, IFLA recruited a new Secretary General. That's me. And I hope that my international cultural relations experience will be of value as IFLA moves into its second century. I hope you found the highlights inspiring, but they are just highlights, a small selection of the amazing work we have achieved together in 2023. I really do encourage you to look at our annual report. We will publish the final version in the next couple of months, and I hope you will like the new format and ways of sharing key information with you. I want to mention one more exciting project, even if it is one that Vicky has already mentioned. As I said at the beginning, this is the last year we will be reporting around our 2019-24 strategy, with next year based around the new 2024 to 2029 one. And our next strategy is still being designed with you, our members, as well as volunteers and others, playing a determining role in it. We're still in the draft stage, but one big improvement that you called for, and that I think we will deliver, is to connect better what we do as a federation with the world we want to see. This is one of the key opportunities we have going ahead. We want to take all the great work that you are doing, that we are doing, and make sure it is leading to real, measurable, high-impact change. Let's build a better world together. Thank you. Madam President, I conclude this report to the meeting and would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Sharon, and congratulations to you on an extraordinary 12 months and supported by an amazing IFLA team in The Hague as well. So as you've just heard, Sharon is willing to take questions on the annual report. If you are online, please put your questions in the Q&A with your name and organisation you are representing. We will also address questions from the floor. I see no questions online. And Stephen, do you have any questions from the floor?
Nope, we have no hands raised.
Thank you. In that case, we'll just take a moment to acknowledge our donors who have added so much to what we've been able to accomplish. And our donors take different forms, from those institutions that support our regional offices and language centres to libraries and institutions who annually provide financial support. There are also individuals who generously support our activities. This year, we are pleased to include further support through organisations such as the European Union and Arcadia. And I will say the National Library of the Netherlands. I just don't want to embarrass myself in front of all the Dutch people who will be sitting in The Hague as well. I also acknowledge the National Library Board of Singapore, the University of South Africa, Pretoria, the Biblioteca del Congreso de la Nación from Argentina, the National Library of Qatar and Qatar, the Biblioteca Alexandriana, Egypt, the National Library of China, the Sheikh Anta Diop University in Senegal, and the Bibliothèque Nationale Suisse, Libraries and Archives Canada, the National Diet Library Japan, National Library Board Singapore, the National Library of Finland, the National Library Service of Barbados, and then our donors, Arcadia Fund, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Consiglio Nacional de Research, the European Commission, Shorky Salem, Stichting IFLA Foundation, Stichting IFLA Global Libraries, and sponsors. I would like to acknowledge our major sponsors who played such a large part in the success of the World Library and Information Congress, as Sharon has mentioned. Our conference in Rotterdam would not have been possible without the outstanding support of a range of organisations in the Netherlands, who not only raised sponsorship funds long before COVID, but in the lead up to the Congress, supported IFLA with individuals who made up a superb national committee. Our thanks to all of them. Thank you. And please join me in a round of applause. Thank you all very much. You certainly have contributed to the success of IFLA of 2023. We now move to item 9 on the agenda, the presentation of the annual accounts. And I invite Jaap Neighbour to present the Treasurer's report on the annual accounts for 2023. Jaap?
I have the privilege to present the Treasurer's report on IFLA's 2023 annual accounts as endorsed by the Governing Board at its meeting in May. Let me begin with the key points. I'm happy to report that the auditors have given IFLA an unqualified audit. In other words, in the opinion of our auditor, the financial statements present a true and fair view of IFLA's 2023 financial position. The auditors have reviewed the numbers, the administration, and IFLA's internal control processes from the perspective of an independent outside expert and confirmed that these are all correct and robust. In other words, we can be confident that IFLA is financially well managed. The Governing Board is committed to increasing transparency and, following last year's decision to publish the full version of our 2022 audited financial statements, I'm proud to say that we are presenting the full 2023 accounts with even more detailed notes. This provides a clearer picture of IFLA's finances compared to previous years. The good news, as can be seen in IFLA's 2023 financial statements, is that IFLA ended the year with a positive result of a little over 204,000 euros, primarily as a result of the successful VLIC in Rotterdam. Our reserves are strong, means that we have enough money in our bank account, even when we account for all our commitments to ensure our resilience in the future. At the end of 2023, IFLA had almost 2 million in reserves. This helps to ensure sustainability and capacity to continue serving members in the field. In short, IFLA is a going concern. However, this doesn't mean that we're not thinking about the future with a little bit more concern. As IFLA approaches its centenary in 2027, the focus of the Governing Board is IFLA's long-term financial sustainability and impact in the field. IFLA's decision to apply for the Dutch ANBI, or charity status, is an important step in this process, and I encourage the General Assembly to approve the proposed changes to the statutes to enable IFLA to apply for this. Let us now look at the 2023 Statement of Income and Expenditure. Full details are in the annual accounts, but I would like to highlight a few points related specifically to income and expenditure. On our two main sources of income, first of all, membership income was higher in 2023 compared to the previous year from a mix of increased membership fees and new members. Secondly, income from the joint account agreement with Stichting IFLA Global Libraries was higher than the previous year, though below budget, in part because IFLA took on a number of staff previously employed by SIGO. The income from the joint account agreement was below budget because some staff were not employed for the full year or were not recruited at all. Moving on to expenditure, the overall lower expenditure in 23 compared to the previous year was a result of lower costs for staff expenses and legal fees. However, because IFLA absorbed some unanticipated costs late in the year, expenditure was not as low as it might have been. I mentioned sustainability, and when looking at sustainability, we start by looking at the normalized result for the year. This refers to the result when we do not take into account one-off or non-recurring expenses or income. As already noted, we have a positive net result of 204,000. However, we need some extra notes to add to this. The positive result is primarily because the positive result of the VLIC in Rotterdam. Without the income from VLIC and some other non-recurring items, IFLA would have made a loss of around 70,000 euros, as you will see in the sheet here. Although we planned for a small surplus, we had some unanticipated costs late in the year. Another word on the holdings, we use these separate holding companies, the BVs, to manage the congresses to reduce the financial risk for IFLA. When a congress is financially successful, IFLA is able to transfer funds for staff and overheads from the BV holding to IFLA. VLIC 23 was financially successful, so we were able to do this, and the consolidated result was a net positive one for IFLA. This figure underlines the importance of VLIC for IFLA's finances, hence also the need for a good review of the VLIC. The extraordinary items of minus 80,000 euros are explained in the annual accounts shared with members in advance of this assembly and consist of additional income of almost 22,000 related to financial government aid during the COVID pandemic, and an additional income of 58,000 mainly due to an accounting adjustment due to Dutch fiscal accounting rules. That was just a little correction. Given the importance of their financial contribution to IFLA, this is perhaps a good moment to also speak about SIGO, the organization established in 2016 to administer the legacy grant awarded to IFLA from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. IFLA's relationship with SIGO is governed by a joint account agreement whereby we share certain costs based on actuals and on a fixed percentage basis. Funds from the joint account agreement appear in its accounts of income, as income. In addition, SIGO directly funds projects managed and delivered by IFLA staff. SIGO's direct funding does not appear in IFLA's accounts. SIGO also has its own expenses, and they publish their annual accounts on their website in line with Dutch law. Negotiations between IFLA and SIGO have become more complex than in the previous years, partly because we no longer share a Secretary General. However, this also brings greater transparency and a welcome and more formal approach into the relationship. The 2023 budget was only signed in December 2023. And as we were unable to agree on certain items, this resulted in higher than expected costs for IFLA in that year. IFLA's governing board therefore decided that no SIGO projects could proceed until the entire 2024 budget had been agreed and signed between the parties. I'm delighted to inform the General Assembly that the 2024 budget agreement with SIGO has now been approved and signed by both parties. So this is good news for the global library field, and we are already working on relevant projects. And we cannot stress this enough. We believe there is goodwill on both sides, and we anticipate an improved process and a strong partnership for 2025 and beyond. Looking to the future, I'd like to end my presentation with some general comments on the Governing Board's priorities for 2024 and beyond. As already noted, one of my key priorities as Treasurer is to work with the Governing Board and IFLA's headquarters team to build our Federation's long-term financial sustainability. An important step here is securing ANBI status for IFLA. This will make IFLA a more attractive partner for funders, as it will mean that every euro we receive from a partner can be used to benefit the global library field and the communities we serve, and not 21% to the Dutch tax authorities. I welcome the ANBI status as it will enable us to simplify our financial structure and make IFLA even more transparent. The IFLA headquarters team has been working on a sustainability strategy with the Governing Board. Partnerships are at the core of this, and the ANBI status will help us diversify our income as we work to strengthen existing partnerships with funders and develop new ones. We are very grateful to the Arcadia Foundation for their generous funding. We have had an important vote of confidence from Arcadia for the impressive results achieved under the Knowledge Rights 21 program. We hope to continue this important partnership, as repeat funding would be a tremendous endorsement of IFLA's capability and expertise. Our partnership with SIGL is important to IFLA, as IFLA and its members have benefited enormously from SIGL funding over the years. However, although a significant amount of legacy grant remains, these funds are finite. This is why financial sustainability, income diversification, and application for the ANBI status are such important priorities for IFLA. We will work to use remaining funds to build the ability of the global library field to seize opportunities and make connections with partners at all levels. We will also continue to strengthen our membership offer, explore other services that generate income, and ensure that the VLIC review considers financial sustainability in developing the new model. Beyond our generous funding partners, IFLA is very grateful to the members, affiliates, and volunteers who support us, not just through donations, but also through contributions in kind, such as hosting activities, and the most valuable of resources, time and passion. So, as to summarize, first of all, what you have in your hands is the externally audited full version of the accounts, a true picture of where IFLA stands. Second, I can confirm that the internal control systems and governance are robust and effective. Third, we are financially in good shape and have sufficient resilience. With this, I conclude the annual report of the Treasurer for 2023. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jaap, and thank you for your comprehensive report. If you have a question, we invite you to put your question into the Q&A along with your name and organisation. And we will also take questions from the floor. So this is an opportunity to ask questions in relation to the accounts, the annual accounts that have just been presented. Stephen, are there any questions in the room?
None in the room at the moment, but I guess we give people a few seconds to type.
Sure. Well, thank you, Jaap, for your comprehensive report. It would seem that we have no questions on the accounts. So I'd like to call for a mover and a seconder that the annual accounts for 2023 be approved. I call for a mover.
Okay, so we have Al Mizab Digital Library Sudan as the mover, and I think Jennifer Nicholson, Honorary Fellow, as seconder.
Thank you very much. We will approve the annual accounts via a formal vote. Please stay with us while the vote takes place. Voting members, please make your vote now. The motion will appear on your device. Thank you. Voting has closed. The results are 937 in favour, 1 against, and 29 abstentions. Therefore, the annual accounts are approved. Thank you very much for your voting. And thank you very much, Jaap, for your Treasurer's report. We now move to item 9, the presentation of awards. This year, a number of awards have been announced and presented at events hosted by respective units, and so today we will focus on the Professional Council Awards and on our own IFLA honours. I am pleased that Tapaya Parakantai, Chair of the Professional Council, will announce the Professional Council Awards.
A dynamic professional unit has the greatest impact on IFLA's global work, engaging members, developing strong leadership and identity, delivering high-quality services with measurable impact, and communicating activities within IFLA and beyond. The Professional Council launched the Dynamic Unit and Impact Awards to recognise the professional units who have excelled in putting dynamic unit goals into practice. We have 3 awards this year: the Dynamic Unit and Impact Award for Quality and Impact of the Work, the Dynamic Unit and Impact Award for Membership Engagement and Leadership Development, and lastly, the Dynamic Unit and Impact Award for Overall Achievement, for a unit that has excelled in all award categories. On to the awards. The Dynamic Unit and Impact Award for Quality and Impact of the Work is awarded this year to the IFLA Information Technology Section. The IFLA Information Technology Section is recognised for their outstanding contribution and dedication toward advancing the use of IT in libraries and other information organisations. The award recognises the significant influence and positive outcomes generated by the section's work, research and initiatives in preserving and promoting responsible and innovative IT. The section sponsors and works closely with the Artificial Intelligence SIG and the Big Data SIG, integrating mutual work within the section, collaborating with other IFLA sections, regions and IFLA HQ to co-organise events, contributing professional expertise, including preparing a De Gruyter publication on AI in libraries, IC network animation, and an Open Badges project. The IT section deepens the knowledge and expertise of the profession in these topics, as well as offering opportunities for local and regional librarians to network with worldwide colleagues. The IFLA Information Technology Section and its sponsored SIGs meet continuous success in organising regional technology and library symposiums, especially around AI topics, recently in South Africa and in Chile. Their upcoming multiple time zone event, online event, 24 Hours of IT on 28 August 2024, will engage with the various IT priorities and interests from across the globe. Congratulations to the IFLA Information Technology Section. The Dynamic Unit and Impact Award for Member Engagement and Leadership Development is awarded this year to the IFLA Academic and Research Library Section. This award recognises the section's dedication to advancing engagement and leadership development among its members and academic and research library and information professionals worldwide. The IFLA Academic and Research Library section champions inclusiveness and involves each of its committee members in planning and delivering initiatives to broaden engagement with the overall IFLA membership. Being part of the IFLA Academic and Research Library sections means you have a chance to lead initiatives, do planning, blogs, webinars, WILIC sessions, satellite meetings, newsletter articles, special journal issues, and more. Over the last several elections of the committee, there has been a high level of interest in standing committee membership, noted by the high number of candidates and increasing inquiries from candidates about membership and activities of the section. Members contribute to the overall activities of IFLA, such as providing guideline feedback, seeking out collaborative programming opportunities, and providing expertise and perspective to IFLA initiatives, to name a few. Congratulations to the IFLA Academic and Research Libraries section. Next is the award for overall achievement for the unit who has achieved excellence in all three award categories. These award categories include quality and impact of the work, effective communication, membership engagement, and leadership development. The Dynamic Unit and Impact Award for overall achievement is awarded this year to the IFLA Libraries for Children and Young Adults section. The IFLA Libraries for Children and Young Adults section is a dynamic community dedicated to enhancing libraries for children and young adults. This section has implemented innovative programs for those who work with our younger population. Projects such as the Instagram SDG Young Adult Book Club, their third edition of the World Trend Picture Books, Guidelines Infographic, collaboration with IBI, the International Board on Books for Young People, and an upcoming panel in Italy featuring 6 members of their section. A regular organiser of regional midterm meetings, most recently in Croatia, encouraged collaboration with local libraries and library associations. They participated in the annual Croatian Children's Library Conference, where the local library population experienced the international work of IFLA firsthand. Learning about library work internationally, and section members learned about innovative Croatian programs around sustainability, which could be replicated at home. The IFLA Libraries for Children and Young Adults section standing committee also excels in cultivating leadership and engagement among their members. They have created valued opportunities for volunteers to take on leadership roles and created positive conditions for volunteers to apply their talent to a range of projects and initiatives that have a tangible impact in communities worldwide. This focus on leadership development ensures that the Standing Committee is capable of meeting the evolving needs of children and young adult librarians. Actively engaging with their members through regular meetings, midterm meetings, conference sessions, and collaborative projects builds a unified sense of belonging and purpose. New members are encouraged to join working groups as a way to learn and grow amongst supportive friends. Hybrid presentation options enable more members to be included as presenters at international events, even if they are not able to attend physically. The IFLA Libraries for Children and Young Adults section proactively diversifies their membership through purposeful promotions of new members from geographically distributed areas. Current members hail from Asia, Europe, the MENA region, Latin America, Mexico, and North America. Since Willock and Rotterdam 2023, the section has collectively given over 20 presentations related to their work. Effective communication is a cornerstone of the IFLA Libraries for Children and Young Adults section's success. They maintain clear, consistent, and open lines of communication among committee members, registered, and the broader children and young adults community. Their adept communication skills have been instrumental in driving collaboration, increasing visibility, and ultimately achieving their mission of enriching libraries for children and young adults. The section publishes biannual newsletters, encouraging participation from the larger library field, and frequent newsletters on hot topics impacting the field, such as the Fall 2023 Special Edition Banned Books newsletter and their Winter 2024 newsletter, I Love My Library. Congratulations to the IFLA Libraries for Children and Young Adults section. Lastly, warm congratulations to each committee member of the winning units for the 2024 Dynamic Unit and Impact Awards, and special thanks to all units that were nominated this year. It is an absolute pleasure to acknowledge the power of IFLA volunteers, people who make a difference for libraries, librarians, and the communities we serve. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Tapaya. And as Tapaya said, congratulations to all committees of the units who have won awards today. The Information Technology, Academic and Research Libraries, and Libraries for Children and Young Adults. Your hard work is very much valued and appreciated. Thank you. We now move to honours and awards. As for IFLA's honours, the IFLA Scroll of Appreciation is awarded to members who have given distinguished service to IFLA. Today, IFLA presents a Scroll of Appreciation to Renata Behrens for her distinguished contribution to IFLA, for her extensive achievements, expertise, dedication and service impacting the area of international standards for cataloguing, including resource description and access. Renata's work makes the world of information more accessible to all. Unfortunately, Renata was not able to join the General Assembly in The Hague today, but has sent this video message.
Dear colleagues, hello from Germany. I would like to thank you very much for the honour and for a number of reasons. Of course, it is a personal honour, and I'm very grateful for it. At the same time, I would like to thank the many colleagues in IFLA with whom I have worked in the past. The appreciation and collegiality in the IFLA working groups are an invaluable asset, and for me personally, it was and is a great pleasure to meet so many people from all around the world, and a great honour to work with them. I also hope that such an honour will encourage others, especially young colleagues, to get involved with IFLA. Thank you so much, and danke schön.
Congratulations to Renata, and I know that she will have many colleagues who are delighted to see this recognition of work that's often unseen but deeply impacts our daily practice. So congratulations, well-deserved recognition. We now move to item 10 on our agenda, motions and resolutions. The rules of procedure relating to motions and resolutions at Assembly meetings are included in the IFLA General Assembly papers. We now move to the first of the official motions in the agenda, and I invite the Secretary-General to present the rationale and motion to approve the holding of the next General Assembly in August 2025.
The background is that the legislation of the Netherlands, as stated in the Dutch Civil Code, Part 2, Sections 48 and 49, requires that the Governing Board must submit an annual report and annual financial statements to the General Assembly within 6 months of the end of the financial year, unless the General Assembly has extended this period. The period may be extended on account of special circumstances for no more than 4 months. This is reflected in Article 8.2 of the Statutes. IFLA's financial year ends on 31st of December, and its General Assembly usually meets during the Congress, normally in August, more than 6 months later. The General Assembly must therefore authorise the Governing Board to present the annual report and financial statements at the next Congress. IFLA's lawyers advise that this authorisation has to be given every year. A blanket authorisation is not permissible. The Governing Board calls upon the General Assembly to vote on the following motion regarding the next General Assembly in August 2025. To authorise the Governing Board to convene the General Assembly to coincide with the next IFLA World Library and Information Congress, normally held in August 2025. In the case of an unavoidable delay, the General Assembly may be convened at a later date, but no later than the 31st of October 2025.
Thank you very much, Sharon. I will call for a mover and a seconder for the motion. Firstly, I call for a mover.
Okay, so we have as mover Leslie Weir, Library and Archives Canada, and as seconder Irmgard Reintjes from Passend Laser.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to the motion?
It appears not.
Thank you, Stephen. We will now move to approve the motion via a formal vote. Please stay with us while the vote takes place. Voting members, please make your vote now. The motion will appear on your device. Thank you. Voting has closed, and we now have the voting results. The result is 965 in favour, 10 against, and 4 abstentions. The motion is therefore approved. Thank you very much. We now move to motion 10.2, motions to amend IFLA's Articles of Associations, or the Statutes. And I again ask the Secretary-General to provide the background for these motions. Please, Sharon.
Thank you. As part of our broader approach to enhancing IFLA's financial sustainability, we want to be able to form partnerships with other organisations and in doing so to create new opportunities for our members and volunteers that are consistent with our wider mission and strategy. Unlike many other organisations working in the library space in the Netherlands, IFLA itself currently does not have charity status. This brings the risk of making IFLA a less attractive partner for future funders because of the cost and potential uncertainty involved in ensuring compliance with relevant tax laws. In the Netherlands, Dutch charity status is known as ANBI, or ANBI status. The acronym ANBI is the Dutch acronym for an Institute for Public Benefit. ANBI institutions must put 90% of their efforts into activities for the public benefit. Even though IFLA will remain a membership organisation, our efforts for members and the library field in general are all focused on how we together serve communities and their people. We have consulted extensively with legal advisors, tax advisors, and our notary, and all have been positive in their view that IFLA would meet the conditions for ANBI status. On that basis, the Governing Board agreed in April to propose to the General Assembly the necessary changes to our statutes to enable IFLA to apply for ANBI status. In the previous week, we held 3 open meetings to explain in detail the changes to the statutes and their impact. The main changes involve Article 2.2c, where the amendment reflects the requirement for 90% of IFLA's work and activity being for public benefit by strengthening the fact that IFLA represents the interests of its members and library and information organisations and the communities they serve throughout the world. Article 14.5 and 15.3 concern where, under Dutch law, no single person can make decisions about disposing of an ANBI institution's assets on their own. The amendments ensure that any delegations may not allow a single person to have that power, and that, should the whole Governing Board be permanently absent, the General Assembly would appoint at least 3 individuals to be temporarily in charge. These motions safeguard the management and assets of the Federation. If IFLA is successful in gaining ANBI status, then the change to Article 23.2 provides that were IFLA to be wound up or dissolved, this is not likely as we approach our centenary celebrations, any remaining assets would have to be transferred to a Dutch organisation with ANBI status or a foreign institution focused on the public benefit. This would ensure that any assets would go to another organisation with a similar purpose. The last substantial change is to Article 15.14, which ensures that the statutes conform with Dutch civil code. It outlines that while the General Assembly may suspend or dismiss a governing board member who has acted contrary to the purpose of the Federation, the responsibility for suspension of the chair of the Professional Council, Regional Council, and the Management of Library Associations section lies with those who elected them, which is different to the general members. It's important to state that the proposed amendments have no impact on members, no impact on their rights or the structure of the organisation. IFLA remains your federation working on behalf of members and the broader library field. We already work 90% for the public benefit. Our purpose and values remain the same. You, as the General Assembly, remain the highest governance level of the Federation. The changes are laid out in the Statutes documentation provided with the convening notice, in versions with track changes and in clean copies. It should be noted that while the English version is provided, the Dutch version becomes the legal version under Dutch law if changes are approved. A document with explanations for the changes has also been provided. We will pause here to see if there are any questions in the Q&A about these changes.
Not for now, but
Thank you very much, Sharon. So we'll just take a few moments to see if we have any questions in relation to these proposed changes.
it appears there are no questions right now.
Thank you, Stephen. In that case, let's move on to the motions. The motions do not take each change separately, but recognise all the changes for the full amended statutes. According to Dutch law, changes to association statutes require specific wording, which is why they may seem very formal and administrative. It should be noted that no change, IFLA statutes are It should be noted that to change IFLA statutes, a 2/3 majority of votes in favour is required. The first motion is to amend the Articles of Association, or put simply, to approve the revised versions of the statutes in Dutch and English. So motion 1 is to amend the Articles of Association of the International Federation of Library Associations and Institutions in conformity with the draft deed of amendment prepared by Van de Stap Notarissen BV, indicated with file number 24147.01. I will ask for someone to move the motion.
So we have Stuart Hamilton Library Association of Ireland moving, and seconding we have Julius Jefferson of the American Library Association.
Thank you. If there is anyone who wishes to speak to the motion, please put your comment in the question and answer or raise your hand if you are in The Hague.
There are no hands raised in the room, and we've received no questions yet.
Thank you then, Stephen. We will now move to approve the motion via a formal vote. Please stay with us while the vote takes place. Voting members, please make your vote now, and the motion will appear on your device. Thank you. Thank you for your voting, and the voting has now closed. The results will appear on the screen shortly. The result is 948 in favour, 0 against, and 5 abstentions. The motion is therefore approved. Thank you. And now to the second motion, which is to approve the process to submit the revised statutes to the Dutch legal authorities. The motion reads, to appoint each member of the governing board, each candidate civil law notary, paralegal and secretary employed at the offices of Van der Stappen Notarissen BV or its legal successors to have the notarial deed of amendment to the Articles of Association executed. I will ask for someone to move the motion.
So we have Winston Tabb, Honorary Fellow, moving the motion, and we have Cheryl Hook, York University, Canada, seconding the motion.
Thank you very much. Is there someone who wishes to speak to the motion? If so, please raise your hand if you're in the room or put your comment into the Q&A.
There are no hands raised in the room and no questions have come in via the message board.
Thank you very much, Stephen. So we will now move to approve the motion via a formal vote. So please stay with us while the vote takes place. Voting members, please make your vote now. The motion will appear on your device. Thank you. So voting has now closed and the results will appear on the screen shortly. So the result is 886 in favour, 0 against and 14 abstentions. The motion is therefore approved. Thank you very much for your voting. That completes the motions within the meeting. With your approval of the motions, we will now put in place the processes to submit the revised statutes and apply for ANBI status. In line with our normal practices, I will keep you informed of our progress through my President's message and other news. This is certainly an important moment for the Federation and will help to build and continue a bright future. We thank you very much for your support and trust in our work. Thank you. We now move to item 11, which is the address of the President. And thank you again to Sharon and Martin and everyone who has contributed and voted here today. And I must say a special thank you to Lumi, who've enabled the platform. Zooming here in from Brisbane, it's been a very good experience for me, and I hope for many of you who are across the globe, it has worked very well for you as well. So we're almost at the end of the General Assembly, and it's certainly a time to look forward. I know that when I was giving my report to you as President, I said more than once that I will be returning to a number of topics I briefly discussed, and now is that time. What I hope is that through the presentations today, you have seen how active, how dynamic, and how focused the Governing Board and the IFLA team are on the future of the Federation. Through the work of all of you who contribute your experience and energy to driving the global library field forwards and making sure that great ideas are available to all. Through our advocacy, building the profile and recognition of libraries among partners internationally, through the resources that we create and maintain to enable the field, and through the development of ever stronger regional fields. And also, of course, through what we are doing, led by the Governing Board to prepare our strategy and trend report, to reevaluate our Congress model, to enhance governance and communication, and of course, to build sustainability. As you've heard several times this evening, the centenary of our Federation is 2027, and it's coming up rapidly, and it is high in the minds of the Governing Board. It provides a great anchor, a great focus for us in our work, and a challenge even as to how we can make sure that we send IFLA into its second century best able to fulfil its missions and to achieve its goals. Crucially, it challenges us to find a model that makes us sustainable, able to do the things that only an international federation of library associations and institutions can do. So what's on the agenda looking forward? Regarding the long-term goal of sustainability, you'll have seen clearly in our financial report that we depend strongly on SIGIL funding and the financial success of our congresses to achieve our ambitions. Neither of these are guaranteed into the future. In particular, the legacy grant managed by SIGIL can provide support for a few years more, but it is finite. It will eventually run out. However, I do not think that we should frame this negatively. We've been extraordinarily lucky to benefit from the significant funding boost and need to see it as an opportunity to invest in the capacity of IFLA, of the global library field, and to develop a sustainability model. We should not think about replacing this support, but rather about how it can enable us to mobilise new resources to make our federation and so our field stronger. We need to see this more as a springboard and something to leverage. And this is an area where my presidential theme, Stronger Together, applies. Because the key strength that we have is our connections amongst ourselves, with our communities, with our decision makers. And this is a strength that we need to build on. The goal must be in a situation where being part of IFLA opens the door to new possibilities, new relationships, and new impact. In the very short term, we will be making the formal application for ANBI status. This is, as you've heard, a key step to making relationships with potential funders easier. We will also be working hard to bring together the work we are already doing, to understand opportunities, to build partnerships, to mobilise the field, and to ensure that we're ready to partner with others. By this time next year, you will see more structures, tools, and opportunities to build partnerships and sustainability, building on, for example, the database of existing library funders that's already been shared. But next, of course, to our strategy and trend report. As I've already mentioned, I'm grateful to all who have contributed to the survey on the draft strategy. I know that we are sending out many surveys, but they have a very real and positive impact on what we are doing. Your responses are very much influencing the decisions that are made. And of course, as we've mentioned before, the results of each survey are published on our website, so you too can see the feedback that we are receiving. The next step here is to update the draft strategy for agreement at the July Governing Board, just some weeks away, and then to enter rapidly into working with our volunteers so that you can integrate it into your updated action plans. The formal strategy launch will be at the Information Futures Summit, which I'll talk about shortly. I'm particularly excited and proud of our next strategy. I'm confident that we are moving towards a document that provides a much more powerful vision for our Federation, as well as a clearer explanation of how we can deliver it and why our work matters. Through this, I hope we can better bring our field together, as well as show more directly to partners who we are and what we do. Our trend report too will contribute to our future success. You will see the literature review, the foundational output of the 2024 report published very soon. And then we're looking forward to an exciting series of discussions and debates, allowing us to define potential scenarios for our field and in the future of knowledge and information. We want these to be reference points, stimuli, provocation even for the field, so that we challenge ourselves to think about how we can be most ready to continue to deliver positive change into the future. And of course, the trend report will be launched at the Information Futures Summit. In fact, it will be central to the discussions that we will be having there. Another ongoing process with significant relevance to our sustainability, both in terms of our federation and our finances, is our Congress review. And as I've already mentioned, I'm very grateful to Leslie Weir, the President-elect, for taking on the task of leading this process. There are lots of aspects to this review, and having someone with Leslie's experience leading this important work is essential. This is a year-long process with relevant decisions due in December, so look out for more information. And of course, we are committed to making this process as open as possible. So once again, please join the town halls, answer the surveys, and make your views heard. Finally, there is how we work together as a governing board and how we engage with our members and volunteers. We will be carrying out an evaluation of how we work at the end of the year and drawing lessons from this. And I think this is really important as a governing board that we take the time to do the self-reflection and evaluation of ourselves. But we will also be improving how we share news about our work, including through updates in advance of meetings and providing concrete opportunities for observers to join our governing board meetings. And we'll share more information about that in the coming weeks. Beyond that, we're learning the lessons from our first round of town halls and multilingual mailings. We have also committed to an independent survey of the IFLA staff so we can hear their views on the change program that has been implemented at IFLA headquarters. And as my commitment in Rotterdam, there will be a review of the governance structure that came into place in 2021. Our goal, of course, is to make sure not only that IFLA's governance, and in particular the governing board, is working for you, but that you can see it working for you. And we'll be checking if this is the case through member surveys we have planned to conduct. I cannot close this General Assembly without encouraging you to register for our Information Futures Summit in my hometown, Brisbane, which we held from the 30th of September to the 3rd of October. You'll have seen the emails about this summit, and of course, I've talked a little about it at some of the key launches taking place, of course, the launches of the trend report and the strategy. But I just wanted to emphasise how much I am looking forward to the summit. It's a new type of event for IFLA, built around a central curated program. It mixes excellent speakers from both inside and outside the library field, as well as lots of opportunities to have open discussions about the themes that will be raised. In the last few weeks, we've added many more speakers to the program, so I do encourage you to explore the website for more information. Crucially, the idea is to have everyone addressing the same question. What does the future of information and knowledge look like, and how do we safeguard the place and maximise the impact of libraries in it? It's a great way of being stronger together. So I do encourage you to take advantage of the early bird rate, which is open until the 24th of June for our global participants. So as you can see, we're certainly not taking the foot off the pedal in the second half of my presidency. There's lots to do, and I know that we will face some hard and complex decisions. But the goal is worth it. And IFLA best able to realise its potential to do the things that it can only do for all its members, for the global field and for the communities we serve, and be ready to enter into the second century with confidence and clarity. And we can all do this together. With that, I want to thank everyone who's made this assembly possible. Sharon and her team, and we've seen Stephen on screen today, but I know that Helen has been working very hard in the background, and of course all the team at The Hague will have contributed to tonight's event. I also thank our Treasurer, Jaap Neighbour, for his presentations today, but also his work throughout the year, and Martin Wade, our parliamentarian, and all those who have joined us in person and online. I thank you for your commitment to the Federation. I also thank my colleagues on the governing board who are making an extraordinary contribution to ensure that we have a strong future and a sustainable future for the Federation. We certainly have exciting times ahead of us. I must admit it's nearly 11 p.m. in Brisbane, so for me it's been a very long day, and I'm sorry that I've stumbled across a few things as we've got to the end, but I do want to thank you for joining us for this General Assembly. It's been a very important decision-making process for us, and again I want to thank you sincerely for your support of the motions that have been successfully adopted this evening. Thank you. And I would now like to formally declare the meeting closed. Thank you.